Ah, Nintendo. It seems like they're the best video game company, and that's a fact, because it seems like every major gaming company in one form or another took inspiration from them. Few companies in gaming have had the cultural impact, creativity, and longevity, but Nintendo is different. From pioneering console gaming to creating some of the most beloved franchises of all time, Nintendo has become synonymous with fun, innovation, and nostalgia. I'm taking you on a deep dive into how everyone in every gaming company is inspired by Nintendo in one form or another, and how they consistently lead and innovate in the gaming industry. From their consoles to iconic games, this is how Nintendo is a leader and not a follower. First up, let's talk about hardware. Nintendo is famous for creating unique consoles that push the boundaries of traditional gaming. They don't always focus on having the most powerful specs, but rather on changing how we play. The Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, released in 1985 in North America. It revolutionized the video game industry after the crash of 1983 and set a new standard for home consoles. The NES became a massive success with iconic titles like Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid, establishing Nintendo as a household name. Its main competitor in the console market was the Sega Master System, which boosted superior hardware and graphics capabilities. However, Nintendo's strong lineup of exclusive games, innovating gameplay, and aggressive third-party licensing strategies helped it dominate the market. While the Master System found success in some regions, particularly in Europe and Brazil, the NES ultimately became the defining console of its generation, laying out the groundwork of modern gaming. This rivalry, This was known as the Console Wars. This pushed Sega to adopt some of Nintendo's family-focused marketing while also pushing Nintendo to innovate, leading to the release of the console like the SNES. The SNES was released in the 1990s. It was Nintendo's 16-bit powerhouse that became one of the most beloved consoles of all time. Building the success off of the original NES, the SNES featured improved graphics, a richer sound chip, and a robust library of iconic games, classics like Super Mario World for the console, for example. The SNES was a runaway success, and that led to a fierce competition like with the Sega Genesis, known as the Sega Drive outside of North America, of the early 1990s. The Sega Genesis was launched 2 years before the SNES. It gained a head start and attracted gamers with its edgier marketing, faster processing, and popular titles like Sonic the Hedgehog. Both consoles fought for dominance, with Sega emphasizing blast processing and Nintendo delivered polished genre-defining experiences. This rivalry pushed both companies to innovate, making the 16-bit era one of the most iconic and influential periods in gaming history. Nintendo kept innovating with their new generation of hardware, called the Nintendo 64, with its analog joystick which gave players more control and opened up new gameplay possibilities. But there was a little console competing with it called, the Sony PlayStation 1. So the PS1 needs no introduction. It has a huge game library, kinda like the Nintendo 64's, but guess what? That said library used discs, a new technology at the time. However, even though the PlayStation was top dog, it still had some inspiration from Nintendo, like with 3D graphics. The Nintendo 64, with its powerful graphics processing for the time, it pushed gaming into the world of 3D, which was an emerging trend in the mid-90s. It showed that players wanted more immersive 3D environments, as seen in titles like Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Sony prioritized 3D graphics on the PlayStation 1, creating a library of games that showcased detailed, fully rendered 3D worlds. Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, and Resident Evil were among the PS1's standout titles that showed the potential of 3D 3D graphics and established Sony as a leader in creating cinematic and realistic gameplay. And that was cool, but do you know what is cooler? Nintendo GameCube. Sales-wise, it tanked, but I mean, it's a freaking cube. But many famous Nintendo franchises got their start on the GameCube, and it had your family-friendly games like Mario and others, as Nintendo remained committed to family-friendly games on the GameCube, with titles featuring colorful visuals, whimsical characters, and accessible gameplay. Although some of its competitors were pushing for grittier, more mature games, Nintendo's approach helped the GameCube carve out a niche as the console that appealed to a broad audience. Sony diversified the PlayStation 2's library with a broader range of family-friendly and accessible games, appealing to a wider audience. Titles like Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, and Sly Cooper blended humor, platforming, and cartoony visuals to appeal to a younger audience, helping Sony expand its fanbase. This mix of mature and family-friendly titles contributed to the PS2's massive commercial success. But nothing is like a commercial success than the Wii. Nintendo was bold enough to bet on motion controls, and it paid off. The Wii became one of the best-selling consoles ever. The Wii was unique because it targeted a broader audience. People of all ages enjoyed the motion controls, and Nintendo proved that games could be social experiences for everyone. Just like the Nintendo Switch today, with the Wii, you obviously had copycats. Following the runaway success of the Nintendo's Wii motion controls, Sony released the PlayStation Move, a similar motion-based system with glowing controllers that tracked movement through the PlayStation Eye's camera. While the Move didn't gain the same traction as the Wii, it laid some groundwork for Sony's advancements in VR technology. The Move controllers were compatible with the PSVR, showing how the initial idea evolved for the company. Also, Microsoft saw this and took action with the Xbox Kinect. Microsoft also wanted in on the motion control trend that Nintendo started. The Kinect was Microsoft's answer using a camera that detected full body motion, allowing players to interact with games without holding a controller at all. The Kinect found limited success, and despite its ambitious technology, it eventually faded into popularity. Microsoft later shifted its focus back to traditional controller-based gaming through Kinect's innovations influenced areas like virtual fitness and even military training applications. The Wii U was Nintendo's biggest failure, and that was a huge W for Sony and Microsoft. Well, I don't know so much about Microsoft. Anyway, with the Wii U, it introduced Miiverse, a social platform that allowed players to connect, share messages, and even post game tips and art. Here's one of my posts back in the day. Within an online community directly from their console, Miiverse was innovative for its time, encouraging social interaction among gamers in a shared digital space. Sony took this social connectivity a step further by integrating extensive social features directly into the PS4's core experience. The PS4 introduced a share button on the controller, which allowed players to capture screenshots, record video clips, and even stream gameplay with ease. Sony's integration of social media platforms like Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube made sharing content a seamless part of the PS4's experience, building on the idea that gamers wanted to interact and share their experiences in real time. And with the Nintendo Switch, this hybrid console was a game changer, allowing players to seamlessly switch between handheld and docked mode. The Switch is a perfect example of Nintendo's philosophy. Instead of competing directly with more powerful consoles, they offer something unique. The portability of the Switch makes it adaptable for any lifestyle. Plus, Nintendo's focus on co-op and social games shines, aka the Blue Ocean strategy. Whether it's Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, or Just Dance, the Switch brings people together, and rumors of a next-gen console on the horizon, it's clear that Nintendo is just getting started with this hybrid concept. With the Steam Deck is arguably the most direct attempt at a hybrid PC gaming handheld inspired by the Switch. Its handheld form and portable docking to connect to larger screens mimic the Switch, though with a focus on PC games rather than a console ecosystem similar to the Steam Deck. Companies like Asus have released handheld PCs that allow players to play AAA games on the go, positioning themselves as a premium Switch alternative features for hardcore gamers. Another way Nintendo innovates is by expanding beyond gaming with the Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios theme parks, Nintendo-themed merchandise, and Super Mario Bros. Movie. They're tapping into pop culture in a big way. Super Nintendo World brings Nintendo characters and worlds to life, immersing fans in the magic of Mario, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong. These expansions beyond gaming create new ways for fans to engage with. Now let's talk about games, because what would Nintendo be without its iconic franchises? From Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and Animal Crossing, Nintendo has a history of creating games that resonate across generations. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, Sony's new game. Yeah, I'm talking about Astro Bot. It's so similar to Nintendo games. I can't believe how they just yoinked it and slapped their own name on it. But that is what makes Nintendo special. With each Nintendo game isn't just about visuals or mechanics, it's about creating memorable experiences. Take Super Mario 64. This was one of the first truly 3D platformers, and it set a standard for a 3D game design that we still see today. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild reinvented open-world gaming by letting players explore freely, giving players a sense of discovery and adventure that was both nostalgic and groundbreaking. Then there's Pokemon. This franchise became a global phenomenon, going beyond the Game Boy screen to become a trading card game, an anime, and even mobile apps. Each franchise brings something unique to the table, consistently adapting while staying true to its roots. There's a small indie game called Pow World where you battle monsters and move around the world. I never played this game, but they're getting sued to the end of time by Nintendo. Nintendo's Mario Party series has inspired numerous party games aiming to replicate that multiplayer fun with friends and family. Titles like Pumble Party, Jack in the Box Party Pack, a wide range of competitive party games that encourage local multiplayer. When Pokemon Go launched in 2016, it quickly became a global sensation, inspiring numerous copycats trying to replicate the augmented reality and location-based gameplay experience. Examples include Jurassic World Alive and Harry Potter Wizards Unite. While no clone has managed to replicate the cultural impact of Pokemon Go, these games show how Nintendo's influence extends beyond traditional consoles, shaping mobile gaming trends as well. So what's next for Nintendo? Well, the Nintendo Switch successor, of course, but based on history, it's safe to say it will be unexpected and amazing. Nintendo's willingness to experiment, take risks, and prioritize gameplay over graphics keeps them ahead of the curve. Nintendo doesn't follow trends, they set them. By focusing on creativity, community, and experience, Nintendo has built a lasting legacy in gaming and beyond. And even after 135 years at the time of this recording, they're still just as bold, fun, and innovative as ever. And hey, if you're a fan of gaming, which most likely you are because you watched a whole video about it, chances are you have a Nintendo memory close to your heart. So drop your favorite Nintendo memory in the comments below. Also, subscribe for part 2 for portable games, consoles, and how Nintendo changed the industry as well. Thanks for watching.